Welcome to episode 36 of Sean's Take on Asia, where we touch on the latest news on digital asset development and policy updates. I am very fortunate to have Jeongeun with us today from South Korea to talk about some of the extravagant and incredible market movements that are happening in the country, but also more specifically, part of what she does within Korbit in terms of AML and compliance. So welcome to the show, and thank you very much for sharing your insight with us.
Hi, Sean. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Great. So if you don't mind, maybe you can share with the audience, where you come from, also what you do at Korbit, and maybe a little bit about an overview of the exchange as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jeongeun from Korbit. I'm the head of AML. And Korbit is the oldest exchange in South Korea. We opened our operation in 2013. And for now, there are only 5 exchanges that can provide on-ramp service in South Korea. We are one of the 5 exchanges. We call that a big 5. So we are one of the big 5. Yeah.
Right.
And we are well known for small but strong organization, especially for the compliance and the blockchain technologies.
hmm That's great. Thank you. So I didn't realize um, not all of the exchanges in South Korea allows for on-ramp services. So that's actually quite interesting. I
Mhm.
recall, Junong, when you and I met in Hong Kong during the ACAMS conference about a month ago, you mentioned to me that all of the crypto exchanges that provide on-ramp service have to connect with a regulated bank behind the scene, and you require the account holders to have the same real name. Is that part of the setup in terms of how it is in the crypto markets in South Korea?
Yeah. Your explanation is the exact and accurate. And for providing the on-ramp service, the crypto exchange firstly, we need to be licensed from the financial authorities. And secondly, we need to make a partnership with a specific bank so that we can use the real name account service. So,
Mm,
yeah.
interesting. And can single bank
Mhm.
serve two separate exchange, or is it a one-to-one relationship?
Um, there are guidelines for the structure, one bank for several exchanges, but there is no real case so
Oh, I
far.
see. I
Yeah,
see. Okay, so it's allowed,
yeah.
but typically you have one exchange with one bank in terms of partnership. That's very interesting. Well, I don't think I've actually seen that setup in other jurisdictions, so that seems to be quite unique
Mhm.
in South Korea. And I'm curious because throughout my series, many folks will reach out to me and ask about South Korea. They kind of read about the crypto markets being very vibrant in the country. They also read that. I remember personally when I was running Algorand, our token went up dramatically one day when I found out that two of the Korean exchanges started listing the algo. So that shows you that shows all of us that the market is very vibrant. The community pays a lot of attention to new projects. So why is South Korea so into crypto? I mean, it's not a thing that government promotes, right? So that must be a grassroots type of momentum. Is that true?
Um, yeah. So, like you said, in Korea, the investors are so into crypto, and I thought about why is the situation is like that, and I saw results of a research institute named
hmm
Spread. They said that the Korean users has a tendency to view virtual assets as a tool for the potential future returns, not as
Mm,
a not as a part of technologies. And from my personal viewpoint and by the sociological perspective, I think that Korea is a very small country, but we all have a strong desire to succeed. So we compete. So, and from the past years, housing prices have been soared a lot and becoming having fears we might fall behind and become a
mm.
loser. So we see the crypto as a golden ticket, not to fall behind.
I
Yeah,
see. I
I
see.
think there,
Interesting.
yeah, there is a tendency, and even the registering and trading the crypto in Korea is very easy and convenient. So that's why more users come into the crypto market very easily and
I see.
participate
I
in this
see.
market. Yeah.
Right. And like you mentioned before, the fact that each one of the regulated exchanges are
Mhm.
connected to a licensed bank, that must give a lot of comfort to the investors, even though this is a fairly volatile crypto market. But nevertheless, it gives them a comfort in terms of how the operations work and also some of the regulatory kind of guidelines around it. So
Mhm.
that's great to hear. I mean, I did realize, I think I read an article the other day that the Korean won was the most traded currency for crypto
Mhm.
last year, even more than the US dollar, and which is amazing, right? If you think about Korea as a country, but the US dollar being used very broadly, especially from a stablecoin perspective, for to on-ramp into crypto trading. That the Korean won became the most traded currency is just fascinates me. I think that really shows the strength of the Korean kind of crypto markets. Um, I know this, especially since that you're in the AML kind of compliance space. I noticed the regulator have been very proactive
Mhm.
in promoting consumer protection and a lot of the kind of regulatory compliance aspects as it relates to virtual assets and crypto assets as well. In fact, I think the my understanding is that the financial regulator is going to enforce a new framework by July of this year. Can you talk a little bit about that? And is that a continuation of something that has been in place, or these are new guidelines as it relates to crypto?
Okay, so yeah, that is very important in crypto market that we have a new legislation. That is another one. So previously, we had obligations for anti-money laundering, but
Hmm.
we have more obligations beyond anti-money laundering, but for more overall compliance obligations. Yeah, and I want to share the backgrounds
Okay.
for the legislation. So um, traditionally, each sector in finance in South Korea has their own sector-specific law before the anti-money laundering law. But
Hmm.
for the crypto market, the market grew so fast, and back then there we had no the sector-specific law, and um, as per the specific law, the FSS, Financial Supervisory Services, they do the supervision and on-site inspections for the traditional institutions as per the law, but we had no that kind of framework. So the financial intelligence unit, who oversees the anti-money laundering, um, they need to address the AML issue first, and they included the virtual as a service provider in that law framework. And then they defined what is virtual as a service provider, what they need to do to be licensed, something like
Hmm.
that. So that FIU was the only a main regulator for virtual as a service provider previously, but
Right.
yeah, from July of this year, the FSS, um, they become another main regulator as well.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So is that a transition from one agency to another, or are they both going to be looking at the industry but from different angles?
So for AML, the FIU
Hmm.
will
I
continuously,
see.
yeah, oversee the obligations, but FSS will monitor the obligations in terms of user protection, such
I
as
see. I see. Okay.
preventing market manipulation, cold wallet proportion, and yeah, reserve funds for user protection and something like that. The category is a yeah a little bit different. The separate obligations.
I see. So does that increase a lot of compliance kind of requirements from running from a regulated exchange perspective? I mean, we're in June 13 today, right? So that's roughly about a month away for the User Protection Act to come into force.
Mhm.
What type of procedures have been undergone, at exchanges like Korbit and others to prepare for this?
Yeah. So yeah, only 1 month left. So we are very super busy, and we are closely communicating with FSS. Um, and we are not fully ready to implement the new regulations, but we are still going on. We have 1 month more, and still now, um, I think the main obligations. There are three main obligations. That is, um, we need to store more than 80% of our users' virtual assets in cold wallets.
Hmm.
And yeah, we are doing this right now. And then we
Right.
need to keep the reserve for a certain amount of funds in case of the incidents, some such as
Mm.
hacking, etc. Yeah, that is we are working on right now as well. And we need to enhance our listing process, listing policies to
Mm.
disclose more information to the market and to users. Yeah, and we are working on that, but that obligation is very tricky. The listing is not the same as the regulated
Right.
securities.
Right.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
that is part that we are very struggling with.
Okay. I also read I think it was earlier this week that the notion of kind of mass produced NFTs
Mm,
that were it looks like NFTs is making a comeback during this past few months. That the Korea authorities are also looking at them. Let me kind of look at here. Um, so I think it says mass produced NFTs that have become exchangeable should be treated as cryptocurrency. So they're essentially taking all the common kind of crypto tokens that are being listed today, as well as NFTs that are mass produced, and putting them all under the same purview, same framework. That seems to be that's a quite a massive move. What's your view on that?
yeah, I agree. I'm agree with you. That is a very yeah big move. Um, and yeah, I saw the recent announcement from the FSC about the
Hmm.
NFT, and um, the focus was the fungibility, not the technology.
Mm, I
So
see.
yeah, if the virtual as something the crypto assets issued using the technology like ERC 721, something like that. If it is
Hmm.
created with that method, if we can determine that has a fungibility, then it could be a virtual asset. So that's a very huge move, because previously they hadn't clarified that kind of framework on NFT. So yeah, so but that distinction is somewhat ambiguous. But I understand that the resumes by the financial authorities is aimed at closing the loopholes
I
for
see. I see.
virtual as a service providers. Yeah.
Right, right. I wonder if that will create a ripple effect, kind of towards a lot of the meme coins
Mm,
that are literally popping up every day now. Meme coins are yeah, for whatever they purpose that they serve, seems to be quite, quite popular these days. But if that falls under the same categorization in terms of what this new announcement creates, then I think that's going to make it quite interesting in terms of what the how the what the investors kind of receptions are going to be. Um, Maybe we change topics. Well, we're still staying kind of on the policy side, but perhaps let's talk about the very common question that I keep getting asked all the time, which is North Korea, right? So there have been a lot of news about kind of hacking coming from North Korea, and obviously stealing assets, off DeFi protocols and whatnot. Um, the there's a lot of concern, right, about illicit finance, and obviously as regulated entities, as an exchange, that's got to be very important. So as the head of kind of AML and compliance, like, is this something that you work on every day, or do you just put a policy in place and kind of evolve it along the way?
yeah, North Korea, that is a big issue in AML and compliance in crypto market or the financial traditional finances as well. And actually, we do not specifically monitor the risks related to North Korea on
Mm,
our daily basis duties. But the crypto exchange is regarded as a honeypot
right.
for hacking. So we are the one of the crypto exchange. So we need to um, prevent that kind of events. So so the internal security standards are very high, and I think that's why that the regulators mandate us to store more assets in cold wallets to prevent the hacking issue.
Mm,
Yeah,
right, right. And you mentioned there was 80% that are
yeah,
required to be sitting in cold storage.
hmm yeah,
Right.
right.
Okay.
So previously it was 70% under self
Mm.
regulation, and it went up by 10%.
I see. Okay. 80%. I see.
Mhm.
That's very interesting. I guess I guess is that then looking at uh I mean I'm assuming cold wallets, from a large institution perspective, you're referring to things like HSM devices and obviously the whole control and governance around the procedures. That's being put in place. That has the regulator highlighted specific requirements in that, or are they looking at each one of the implementation from exchanges like Korbit, and evaluating them differently?
So they want us to implement the same standard to for all the exchanges.
Hmm,
So yeah,
I see.
yes, so that the small exchanges they have um, um, worries about implementing that kind of rules, and it is not that easy. It costs for complying the new regulations. So
Hmm.
I heard that they have a lot of challenges implementing that kind of regulation.
I think that's the same case
Yeah.
in all the jurisdictions that are going through regulatory framework. So that's going to be a challenge.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't want to see monopolies in markets, right? You do want to encourage a much more of a free and open approach from a market participation side, but at the same time, compliance is important, and the cost of compliance is certainly quite high, especially in the new industry like digital assets and crypto. Um, I remember when we were in the panel, one of the specific topic was around travel rules,
Mm,
and I know you've led a lot of efforts in South Korea in this regard, working with other exchanges. Maybe
mm,
you can share a little bit about, are these travel rules that are more dictated specifically for the Korean markets, or is that more regardless of whether domestic or not, it's with other entities where
mm.
these assets could be transferred. Can you maybe share some light on that?
Yeah, sure. The travel rule has been more than 2 years since its kickoff in South Korea, but we
Hmm.
are struggling with some challenges still now. And I would tell you the two challenges. The firstly, when we receive the funds, we cannot control that kind of activity in advance.
Right.
So we need to identify afterwards and then return some funds to the address that sent the funds. So that kind of policy is very tricky to implement in day-to-day operations. So we are trying to find the effective and efficient solution for this. And the second one is there is some kind of the standards internationally for virtual asset service provider due diligence, but it's very hard to implement the standards and assess the risks for the foreign virtual asset service providers. That
Mm.
is the second challenge. Mm, we do have lots of foreign exchanges in within the travel rule association we are using, but as you know, the compliance level is different from in each jurisdiction. Yeah, so it's not easy um, to put the same standards for all jurisdictions and yeah assess the risks.
Right. Okay. So I guess the focus is to on the domestic virtual asset service providers. So you have some consistency
Yes.
between all of them,
Mm,
and then identify the foreign
mm.
VASPs, and hopefully coming to some sort of standards around. Is there a particular jurisdictions or exchanges in different parts that you have dealt with in the past, maybe in Japan or Hong Kong or Singapore?
Um, so what was
Yeah,
your
I'm wondering if there are
mm,
other exchanges in different markets that you have had some more direct conversations in, like maybe exchanges in Japan or Singapore.
mm, no, not that particular jurisdiction,
Hmm.
and big players in this market they often do not register in a specific jurisdiction.
Right,
So
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, that's why it's very difficult.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I see. I see. I got it. Well, I think you've shared a lot of like really critical information about the South Korean market in terms of the crypto community, why the market has been so vibrant, but then at the same time the government's efforts and authorities' efforts in really protecting investors and making sure that while the market is very vibrant, certain rules and procedures are still followed. I know we're in June right now, but I'm certainly looking forward to the Korea Blockchain Week, right? That seems to be
Mm.
a very active event, coming up in early September. Is there anything Korbit that might be running that might be interesting for the audience of this show to pay attention to?
Um, I'm not sure about the specific event that Korbit is running for
Hmm.
the blockchain week, but yeah, as you mentioned several times about the Korean market, crypto market, um, is not be, it's not you cannot ignore the Korean market in terms of crypto. We are small in traditional finance, but the crypto market of South Korea is very interesting. And regardless of the Korbit's event, I would like I want the audience come and visit Korea and share a lots of insights about the crypto market. And yeah, I hope that would be good.
Excellent. I'm sure a lot. I know a lot of my contacts and my networks will have been going to Korea Blockchain Week, but I'm certainly planning to head there again this year. So, well, thank you so much. I think that was a very, very insightful for the markets. Thank you so much for your time. I know the policy and the framework is getting enacted in roughly a month, so you and your team must be very busy. So really appreciate your time that you have given us. And that's a wrap for episode 36 of Sean's Take on Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.